Right, so I've been down to the pound shop and I've spent £5, which is a lot of money for me. Jute string, because my balls of white cotton string, I'm on my last half ball now, so that will come in useful for string, so no change with that. Super glue, an amazing array of uses for super glue. Well, basically sticking things, but they can stick all sorts of things. So that doesn't need any explanation. These tea lights, I melt those down and make my little stoves. So that'll be one project I'll be doing with these. Illumination. Now I've seen some fantastic videos on various high-powered torches, and I've spent £1 on a rechargeable torch, which you can switch on and off. It'll switch on the inside there, but it might want some modification to make it a little bit more robust and a little easier to carry. So that's going to be a little project in itself. And last but not least, I bought this, I don't know whether it's supposed to be a tablecloth or what. It's just a little bit short for a shemag, but I think we can press it into use as a shemag. Now what I do for my little stoves is I take the wax from the pound shop and melt it down, and I pour it into these empty metal containers, and I have some wick substance in there, either cotton string, paper towel or sawdust. In this case not straight sawdust, but the chippings from the chainsaw, which is a little bit denser. In fact, I'll show you. This is the material from the chainsaw, so it's fairly coarse wood chips, well, fine wood chips, very coarse sawdust, somewhere in between. So I use that as the wick. So I just top these up and then fill them up with wax. But I'm going to make two versions today. One's my standard version, just put the sawdust in, fill it full of wax, let it set. The other one I'm going to fill it up not quite so high, and I'm going to put a ring of holes around the edge and see if that makes it burn a little bit more efficiently. Not that I have any issues with the efficiency, but it might just give it a bit more oxygen, and well, we'll see what it does. So I'll just get some wax in here, get the wax melting, and then we can get started. So remember, this is £1 for 40, and I'm just going to use what, about six to 8 for a fill a tin up. So you get a fair bit of fuel for your money. Best not to do this indoors, best to keep it outside. The trouble with this is, of course, if you're using it as a stove, this isn't totally paraffin wax, so it has quite a relatively low melting point, and so you can put your stove out, you can put it out easy enough, but then you'll have a hot liquid in there until it cools down and solidifies, so you can't just blow it out and stuff it in your bag as you can with the gas stove. Okay, so I've got 12 in there now. So while we're waiting for that to melt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the holes in one of these. And that's what I got this log for. So I'm just going to start in the middle of this blue band, and I'm just going to do it by eye. Putting little holes in it first. Because when I've got all these holes marked, I want to make them directional to hopefully make the flame spiral. That's the theory. It may not work in practice. What I'm using to put the holes in is just a nail out of a pallet, which are quite hard nails, and I've just araldited it into a section of fancy wood. Okay, that's worked out fairly evenly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push it in and just bend it that way to make the air go in at an angle. So just push it in and bend it. So I don't know whether you can see that, but the holes have a distinct angle. So it may work, it may not, we'll see. You'll probably see better on the inside. See, the air's going to want to spiral round that way, I hope, and really mix the oxygen up. So now what we'll do is we'll put some sawdust in. So we must be just about ready for pouring now. It's all melted. The tins will be warm. I could do with just 2 more candles in there. So I'll just put these on because this log isn't too flat. That one's done. This one could do with maybe 1 or 2 more candles in it. I'll just keep it soft till these 2 candles melt, which won't take long. Bear in mind that one of these does way more than 1 meal. I mean, you blow it out. Oh, in fact, I want some. And a bit more on the top there. You blow it out and reuse it, and it lasts quite a while. There we go, they're both more or less even now. So we'll just let them cool down. And we've got enough there to do another 1.5 of these. Right, so I've got both stoves set up here, both made as much the same as I can, except this one on the left hand side has holes perforated around the edge. So I'm going to start each stove with an elastic band, lighting an elastic band, and we'll see if these holes around the edge make any significant difference. Well, the one on the right started better, seemed to start quicker just because of the way the lay of the sawdust was on top. But I don't know whether the one on the left is now, well, I don't know, there's nothing in it really, is there, at the moment? Nothing in it. Well, I really don't think there's any difference. Not any noticeable difference anyway. I'd say there's no appreciable difference in performance. I'm just doing a final burn test with this little burner now. let it go in for 15 minutes when we had the two in comparison, and now I've had this burning for a further 20 minutes so far, and we'll just burn it till it goes out, see how long it takes. We're beyond 1 hour 30 now, and the flames are dying down, but there's still enough to cook on my small stainless steel cup with Crusader cup. We made 2 stoves for comparison, similar, but this one has the holes round the outer. We used 9 of the tea lights in each of the stoves, and we had 12 left, so we could easily have made 3 stoves with 3 tea lights left over. So each one burns for over an hour and a half. Admittedly, the flames are a lot less now than they were when we first set it going, but that's still enough to cook with. So I'd say they represent excellent value for money when all you've got to buy is the tea lights. You can put toilet paper or sawdust or any wicking material in the can, and they don't take long to make. Just melt the tea lights and pour it in the wicking material, and as we've proved, the holes around the outer edge in the configuration we've got them anyway don't really make any difference. So I'm going to stick to this method of portable stoves where I don't think I've got the material to make a fire from sticks, and as I say, the only disadvantage is that if you need to blow them out after you've had them running for a short time, then you do have to wait for quite a while for the wax to solidify, otherwise you're going to get molten wax all over the place. So it was failure in that I expected there to be some advantages in putting the holes around the outer edge, but at least the stoves have had a good test, and we know how long one lasts, how much they cost. When it costs £1 for 30 tea lights, and you can make 3 stoves that last an hour and a half each, that's not bad. Not as cheap as sticks, but slightly more convenient. It's no good telling her to get out of there because she's deaf. Right, we'll conclude the little stove experiment then. Stove's been a success. The holes around the rim's been of little if no value. So 2 hours and 20 minutes later, I took it out and give it a bit of a stir. Because there's still wax at the very bottom of the wood shavings. So you could probably get another cup of tea out of that. let's see if we can. Temp pegs. Temp peg. I think we'd be lucky to get a cup of tea out of it, but it would be amazing if we did. The amount of work that thing's done. Can you hear it boiling? It is on a rolling boil. 2.5 hours burn time later. So when your stove starts getting weak or coming to the end, just mix the sawdust up a bit and you'll get a bit more out of it. Considerably more out of it. We're now coming up to 2 3/4 hours burn time. But it hasn't always been burning as vigorously as that, of course, because when the ash builds up on the top, if you don't mix it up, its burn rate does go down quite a lot. It's still going. It's been another 15 minutes and it's still going. And of course, I haven't, but you could always throw another candle in there to keep it going. And I do detect that as the fuel level gets lower away from those holes do seem to be having an impact. So you do get a bit better burn as the fuel level goes lower. You can see almost jets of flame where those holes are as the fuel level gets lower. So I think there is an advantage later on as the stove gets, as the fuel gets used up. So all in all, I don't think you can get a cheaper stove when you consider that if one of these is useful for say 2 hours, then I've got 6 hours burn time from £1 worth of candles. How does that compare with a gas canister? Anyway, I think we've done this one to death now, so that's the stove. End of.